Did you ever spend time with the guy? Did you ever meet Diddy?
I've met him before, yeah.
How was he?
Very nice guy, very smart, super business. He's very successful.
With this newest lawsuit, this would probably only expedite or increase the amount of allegations and potential witnesses who could testify against Sean Combs.
It's no secret that the celebrity world is filled with glitz, glamour, and secrets so dark they could make your head spin. But what happens when those secrets start bubbling to the surface? Well, that's exactly what's happening right now with the explosive allegations surrounding Sean Diddy Combs. And it doesn't end with him. The ripple effects of his controversies have started pulling other big names into the spotlight, and two of those names are Jenna Lopez and Ashton Kutcher. While both have spent years crafting their polished public personas, recent revelations suggest that their ties to Diddy might not be as squeaky clean as they'd like us to believe.
I don't know this, but it just seems very suspicious when you go through and you look at in the history of different people that can make you go away if listen, I've worried about some of the things that I talk about on my show.
Let's start with Jennifer Lopez. JLo has always been one of the most iconic names in entertainment, and her meteoric rise to fame in the late 1990s was nothing short of legendary. But her off-screen life, that's where things get murkier. Her relationship with Diddy in the late 90s was the stuff of tabloid headlines, passionate, chaotic, and, as some sources suggest, more troubling than it initially seemed. The two met in 1999 and quickly became one of the hottest power couples in Hollywood. On the surface, they were a match made in pop culture heaven, the Bronx-born singer and actress with a rising star, and the larger-than-life hip-hop mogul who seemed to have the world at his feet. But behind the scenes, it appears there was a far darker reality.
Wow. So, ladies, JLo being open about gushing over Ben, do you think she's making a mistake this time, going so public? Or is she just in love?
Their whirlwind romance was full of drama, and not the romantic kind. Lopez has hinted over the years that her time with Diddy was emotionally draining and, at times, downright toxic. She's referred to past relationships where she felt disrespected and manhandled, and while she never explicitly named names, insiders have long speculated that she was talking about Diddy. One source close to Lopez once revealed that she was constantly put in uncomfortable situations during their time together, situations that clashed with her image as the hardworking, good girl from the Bronx. And now, with the resurfacing of certain allegations and photos, people are starting to wonder just how much she knew, or didn't know about what was going on behind the scenes. One particular incident that's raising eyebrows took place in 2000 during the height of their relationship. It was a night that started like any other glitzy event, but ended in chaos. New photos from that evening have resurfaced, showing Lopez and Diddy in what appears to be a heated exchange. The body language says it all, Diddy leaning in, bottle in hand, with an intense expression on his face, while Lopez looks visibly uncomfortable. What were they arguing about? No one knows for sure, but what we do know is that this was the same night Diddy allegedly found himself tangled up in one of the most shocking accusations of his career. The timing of their heated exchange and the events that followed have left many wondering just how involved Lopez might have been, or whether she simply turned a blind eye to what was happening around her. To make matters worse, Lopez was reportedly at the same after-party where the alleged incident occurred. The photos show her mingling near Diddy, with champagne flowing and the crowd in full party mode. Witnesses from that night have described the atmosphere as wild, with the kind of chaos you'd expect at one of Diddy's infamous parties. But what's troubling is the rumor that certain questionable activities took place behind closed doors while Lopez was in the vicinity. While there's no evidence to suggest she was directly involved, her mere presence at the party has led to uncomfortable questions. Did she know what was going on? Did she see anything? Or was she simply caught up in the whirlwind of Diddy's world without realizing the full extent of it? Fast forward to now, and Lopez seems to be doing everything she can to distance herself from Diddy. Despite their high-profile romance back in the day, she rarely speaks about him in interviews. And when asked about her past relationships, she's careful to keep things vague, focusing instead on her current life with Ben Affleck. In fact, when paparazzi recently confronted her about the allegations surrounding Diddy, she refused to engage and quickly left the scene. It's a stark contrast to the Jennifer Lopez of the early 2000s, who was often seen smiling on Diddy's arm at every major event. The shift in her demeanor has only fueled speculation that she's trying to bury this chapter of her life as deeply as possible.
The money that they're saying Diddy has to start paying this guy on October 1st, right. Diddy's team is like, hold on, we need an emergency conversation about why this should not have been granted. Mm-hmm. And they awarded him a TRO, which basically meant that Diddy's team was not allowed to sell any property in that state or anything related to what could be used to pay the plaintiff.
But Lopez isn't the only one under scrutiny. Ashton Kutcher, Hollywood's golden boy and tech investor extraordinaire, is also finding himself dragged into the conversation. Kutcher's connection to Diddy dates back to the early 2000s, and the two struck up an unlikely friendship that puzzled many at the time. How did a farm kid from Iowa and a rap mogul from New York become such close pals? It all started with a prank, or rather, the prank that never happened. During Kutcher's punk days, he had plans to target Diddy for one of his elaborate stunts. But before he could pull it off, Diddy got wind of it and made it clear that he wasn't having it. According to Kutcher, Diddy warned him in no uncertain terms that pranking him would be a bad idea instead of driving a wedge between them. The bizarre interaction somehow brought them closer together. From that point on, they were often seen hanging out, attending events, and even collaborating on a few projects. But their friendship wasn't just about red carpets and photo ops. Kutcher was a regular at Diddy's legendary parties, including his famous white parties, which were the epitome of Hollywood decadence.
Diddy is now being sued in addition to what we just talked about by Dawn Richards. You guys will remember her. She was a part of Making the Band.
Dirty Money.
The Danny Kane era. So basically what she is alleging, she's alleging a lot of different things.
For years, Kutcher couldn't stop singing Diddy's praises. He described him as larger than life, the ultimate host, and someone who could throw the kind of parties that people would be talking about for decades. But now, with the allegations against Diddy making headlines, Kutcher's glowing endorsements are coming back to haunt him. People are questioning what he might have seen or even participated in at those parties. After all, these weren't just your average celebrity gatherings. They were exclusive, over-the-top events where anything and everything was said to go down. And while Kutcher has always been tight-lipped about what really happened at those parties, his silence is starting to speak volumes.
Diddy is now being sued in addition to what we just talked about by Dawn Richards. You guys will remember her. She was a part of Making the Band.
Dirty Money.
The Danny Kane era. So basically what she is alleging, she's alleging a lot of different...
In fact, Kutcher is now reportedly going to great lengths to distance himself from Diddy. Sources close to him say he's been scrubbing his social media, removing any traces of their friendship. His wife, Mila Kunis, has allegedly banned him from having any contact with Diddy, and insiders claim she's furious about the potential damage to their family's reputation. It's a far cry from the days when Kutcher was one of Diddy's most vocal supporters, gushing about their adventures together.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
the shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood, but one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
But here's the thing. Kutcher's silence isn't sitting well with everyone. Some are accusing him of turning a blind eye to Diddy's alleged behavior for the sake of maintaining their friendship. Others are wondering if he knew more than he's letting on. And then there are those who believe Kutcher might have even been complicit in covering up some of Diddy's activities. While there's no concrete evidence to support these claims, the rumors alone are enough to tarnish his once spotless image.
There was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
What makes this all the more troubling is that Kutcher has positioned himself as a champion for justice in recent years. He's been an outspoken advocate for protecting vulnerable communities and has even testified before Congress on these issues. So the idea that he might have turned a blind eye to questionable activities in Diddy's circle is especially jarring. It's a stark reminder that even the most well-intentioned public figures can have skeletons in their closet. As the walls close in on Diddy, the spotlight isn't just on him anymore. It's starting to shine on the people who were closest to him, the ones who partied with him, laughed with him, and in some cases allegedly helped him keep his secrets. Jennifer Lopez and Ashton Kutcher might be trying to rewrite their narratives now, but the internet never forgets. The photos, the videos, the interviews, they're all out there, and they paint a picture that's getting harder and harder to ignore.
If they did in fact occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant, and not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, of engaging and voluntarily engaging in this conduct and being in those spaces, consuming drugs, consuming and things of that nature.
This brings us to the bigger question. How many other celebrities were involved? How far does this web of connections go? And most importantly, will the truth ever fully come out, or will Hollywood's culture of secrecy continue to protect its own? Let's dive even deeper into the web surrounding Diddy's alleged controversies. If you thought the connections with Jennifer Lopez and Ashton Kutcher were jaw-dropping, wait until you hear how far this rabbit hole goes. It's not just about two celebrities trying to protect their public image. It's about an entire network of Hollywood elites who seem to have been swept up in the chaos. What's becoming increasingly clear is that Diddy's world wasn't just about glitz, glamour, and A-list parties. Behind the scenes, there was a darker side to his empire. And as the layers peel back, it's exposing some of the entertainment industry's most shocking secret. Now, Diddy's infamous parties have become the stuff of legend. For years, they embodied the fantasy of Hollywood excess, with celebrities from every corner of the industry scrambling for an invite. These weren't just any parties. They were highly exclusive, meticulously planned events with the kind of opulence that could make royalty blush. But as more details emerge, it seems these gatherings were about more than just champagne towers and designer outfits. Behind the velvet ropes, there were whispers of activities that would make even the most hardened Hollywood insiders raise an eyebrow.
And the reason why I never pursued a month is because being Playboy of the Month, I was told there was insinuations multiple times that I had to do something to stand out to Hefner and the team. And that to me seemed like there was a underlining tone of, what is it that I have to do to get this role?
And here's the kicker. Diddy wasn't just hosting these events. Some sources claim he was using his parties as a way to collect dirt on the celebrities who attended. Think about it. If you're a star at one of these extravagant gatherings, letting loose and trusting that no one's watching, you're vulnerable. Now imagine hidden cameras capturing every moment. According to rumors, that's exactly what Diddy was allegedly doing, and those who've attended his events are now scrambling to figure out if they were caught on tape. The idea that he might have stockpiled compromising footage of Hollywood's elite? It's sending shockwaves through the industry. One name that's been thrown into the mix is Daniel Baldwin, who recently made some bold claims about these alleged tapes. If you're not familiar, Baldwin is the lesser-known brother of Alec Baldwin, but he's no stranger to the dark underbelly of Hollywood. In a recent podcast appearance, he alleged that Diddy had cameras rolling at his parties and that there's now a bidding war over the footage.
I don't buy for a minute that he's going to prison without getting out of here somewhere and stashing $2 billion or whatever. I think he has that kind of power, meaning Sean himself. But remember, it goes a lot deeper than that.
According to Baldwin, these tapes might contain compromising material involving some very famous faces, and people are paying big money to make sure their names don't get leaked. Whether Baldwin's claims hold any weight or not, the very idea of these tapes existing has sent Hollywood into a frenzy.
Everyone keeps saying to me, like, how did you keep, why did you keep going? Why were you there? I'm like, it literally is around me. If I don't stay at home, this is the atmosphere I'm in. Like, I have no choice.
And it gets even messier. A former associate of Diddy's named Courtney Burgess has reportedly testified in front of a federal grand jury, claiming that he's seen some of these tapes firsthand. According to Burgess, the footage includes major celebrities engaging in activities that they would undoubtedly want to keep private. He even claimed that some of the material came from flash drives handed to him by Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter. Burgess's testimony has added fuel to the fire, leaving many wondering just how far-reaching Diddy's alleged web of secrets really is.
And he is very, very dominant. Like, he wants to control the situation. He wants to control his inner circle. He wants to make everyone have a good time and enjoy his parties. And so, it is scary because you think, this person or possibly his social network or the people he's around could make or break your career.
What's particularly chilling is the idea that these tapes might not just be about Hollywood's biggest stars letting loose. They could potentially include evidence of wrongdoing. This brings us back to the other celebrities who were regular fixtures at Diddy's parties. Over the years, his events became a who's who of the entertainment world, with everyone from Jay-Z to Madonna showing up to celebrate. But now, people are starting to look back at those guest lists with a much more critical eye. Were these celebrities merely innocent bystanders, or did they know more than they let on?
If you say the wrong thing or you complain or I don't know, there's an element where you're just, I guess manipulated in a way to make you feel like, oh, you have to please everyone around you. You can't say anything wrong. You don't want to say a bad thing, or when they're constantly asking, would you like to do drugs? And you're like, well, I don't do drugs. And they're like, well, why don't you do drugs?
One name that's been noticeably quiet amid all this chaos is Usher. The R&B superstar has a long history with Diddy, dating back to when he was just a teenager. Usher has openly talked about living with Diddy during the early years of his career, describing it as an eye-opening experience. In one interview, he admitted that Diddy's lifestyle was unlike anything he'd ever seen, calling it wild and crazy. But when asked if he would let his own kids spend time with Diddy, Usher didn't hesitate to say no. That comment alone has raised eyebrows, leading many to wonder what exactly Usher witnessed during his time under Diddy's wing. Then there's 50 Cent, who's never been one to hold back his opinions. The rapper has been vocal about his unease with Diddy for years, even before these latest allegations came to light. In a recent interview, 50 Cent mentioned how he's always avoided attending Diddy's parties, describing the vibe as uncomfortable. He even recalled a bizarre interaction where Diddy allegedly offered to take him shopping, which 50 Cent found unsettling. While some might dismiss his comments as typical 50 Cent antics, others are now revisiting his words in light of the current scandal.
That if you speak about it at the time, I don't know the consequences of what that could have been. So I didn't really talk about it. I should have gone to the police. I should have said something other than to my agent. I'm just thankful that there was somebody there. There was somebody at that party who helped me because...
But perhaps the most striking revelation comes from the people who've attended these parties and are now speaking out, like Ray J and Kendra Wilkinson. Both have shared their experiences, claiming they never saw anything inappropriate happen during the events they attended. Still, their statements have done little to quell the growing speculation. After all, if there's one thing Hollywood excels at, it's keeping secrets. Just because someone didn't see something doesn't mean it didn't happen. And that's the uncomfortable truth hanging over these allegations.
Separated from him from a very long time because he was using, allegedly, these events to invite them back to these private mansion parties and hotel parties and God knows what else. But he was utilizing the branded events to be able to, get the girls to...
Even more intriguing is the parallel being drawn between Diddy's case and another infamous scandal. Jeffrey Epstein. Much like Epstein's extravagant parties, Diddy's gatherings were attended by the world's elite, and both cases involve allegations of manipulation and exploitation. The comparison has only added to the sense of urgency surrounding the investigation, with many demanding that the entertainment industry finally confront its darker side. If Epstein's case taught us anything, it's that powerful people will go to great lengths to protect their secrets and their reputations. What's becoming increasingly clear is that Diddy's alleged actions have cast a shadow over the entire entertainment industry. It's not just about what he may or may not have done. It's about the culture of complicity that allowed it to happen. For years, Hollywood has been a place where the powerful can operate with impunity, shielded by their wealth and status. But as more people come forward and share their stories, that culture is starting to crumble. The question is, will this be the tipping point that finally forces real change?
Come over and join him. So there is so many people involved in this situation that works the machine here that, Diddy's obviously the head of the whole situation. The king of parties, but there is multiple other people involved that are helping along the situation.
And let's not forget, there are still plenty of celebrities who have yet to speak out. People like Leonardo DiCaprio, Mary J. Blige, and Khloe Kardashian, who were all regulars at Diddy's events, have remained silent in the face of these allegations. Their silence is deafening, and it's only adding to the speculation. Were they simply unaware of what was happening, or are they staying quiet to protect themselves? Whatever the case may be, their reluctance to address the situation is raising more questions than answers. Now, as the investigation continues, the entertainment world is bracing for impact. With every new revelation, the list of people implicated in Diddy's alleged activities seems to grow longer. It's not just about the accusations themselves. It's about the ripple effect they're having on Hollywood as a whole. The industry is being forced to confront its own complicity, and for many, it's a reckoning that's long overdue.
Now, if the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
But here's the thing, this story is far from over. There are still so many unanswered questions, so many loose threads that have yet to be tied up. What's on those alleged tapes? Who else knew about what was happening? And perhaps most importantly, how deep does this rabbit hole go? As more people come forward and share their experiences, it's becoming clear that this isn't just about Diddy. It's about an entire system that allowed these alleged actions to go unchecked for so long. So, where does that leave us? Are we witnessing the beginning of the end for Hollywood's culture of secrecy, or is this just another scandal that will eventually fade from the headlines? One thing's for sure, the world will be watching closely as this story continues to unfold, because if there's one thing we've learned from scandals like this, it's that the truth always has a way of coming out. The real question is, who will be left standing when it does? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned and stay curious.